dinosaurs were able to read, do you think they'd see Jurassic Park as non-fiction? Hi, welcome, come on in. My name is Aoife and today I am taking the evolution of a reader book tag. This was created by Reading with a Vengeance and I thought it was a really great way to take a look back and see how, if at all, my reading tastes have changed, my reading style has changed, my routines have changed. It's something that I like to think about every year around my birthday, to think of how I was the year previously, how I want to be in the next year. So this seems like a really good way to do it. The first question is about what you read and how have your reading tastes evolved. I read a lot more adult, contemporary, steamy romance books than I would have previously. If you'd asked me this about 2 or 3 years ago, the answer would have been completely different. I would have said I still read a lot of YA. I would have said that I don't read a whole lot of non-fiction. I would have said that I don't read a whole lot of literary fiction. A lot of the romances that I read would have been closed doors, so you don't really see any sex scenes on the page. And this has completely changed. I've moved away from YA quite a lot. I think it's because now that I'm in my 30s, I don't associate with the issues or the problems that these children are going through. I don't have the same worries about school. I don't have the same hang-ups about friendship groups. I have other things to worry about, like trying to get bills paid or trying to fit in work and sports and socializing all in one day. I am also reading a lot more non-fiction than I would have any other years. It's been kind of growing year on year. The amount of non-fiction that I am reading is definitely going up, especially during the month of November, which on BookTube and in the book community is Non-Fiction November. I always try and make a little bit more of a conscious effort to read some more non-fiction in that month. But that isn't to say that I don't read it across the rest of the year as well. I am definitely finding myself reading a lot more non-fiction than before, especially in the areas of celebrity memoirs, which is something I love to read, and a little bit of self-help as well. Question 2 is about how you read and how have your reading formats changed. Up to 2016, I put my hand on my heart and said I would never ever get an e-reader. I didn't see the point of them. I was a traditionalist. I just wanted to feel the book in my hand. Then I went away to London for 2 weeks. I was working in a magazine as an intern, and carrying books around with me was so heavy and clunky. I think I had like 6 or 7 books with me in my suitcase because I knew that was my reading speed at the time. And it was heavy, it was bulky, it meant I couldn't put as much of other things in there like clothes. I brought the tablet with me that I was using at the time and I used that instead as an e-reader, and I think that just hit a switch in my head. And I realized that this was the way forward. It was a lot easier to read with that tablet. It was so much more convenient. I could just pop it in my bag and I knew that if I was finished with this book, I could start another one straight away rather than having to go and find a Foyles or Waterstones or WH Smith or any other bookshops around the area. I just knew I had it at the palm of my hands instantly. So for Christmas 2016, I asked my parents to get me a Kindle, and I have genuinely not looked back since. Actually, that Kindle broke in January of around 2019, 2020, and I was bereft. It took about 2 or 3 days for me to get a new one delivered, and in that 2 or 3 days sprint, I did feel like I had a limb chopped off. I felt like I was missing something. So I think I have become a little bit heavily reliant on my Kindle. I do read from it quite a lot, but that isn't to say that physical books have completely fallen to the side. My main reading is physical books, but I do also go onto my ebooks a lot. As well as ebooks, I also discovered audiobooks in around 2020, I think. I was working in an office and I just needed something to cut through the monotony of what I was doing. So I put an audiobook on one day. I think I did it through YouTube first. I did like an audiobook of Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice or something like that. And I found it so enjoyable to have somebody tell you a story as you're going around your day and as you're doing the chores that you have to do. So I got a Scribd membership, haven't looked back since. It's probably the best €10 that I spend every month. I also hooked up with my local library back at home and they have a pretty extensive audiobook and ebook collection. I don't really use the ebook side of it because I find reading on the small little screen of my phone a little bit difficult. It can be a little bit eye straining. But I listen to the audiobooks on there constantly. Question 3 is, how much do you read? Do you find that how much you are reading has changed? Do you find that the places that you are reading has changed? And do you find when you are reading has changed? Year on year, the number of books that I am reading has been slowly and steadily increasing. This year it's hitting a little bit of a slump, But year on year, it is increasing quite a lot. I think in 2019, it was around 82. Last year, I got up to 116. And there were kind of fluctuations in and around then. I think I got to 125 one year, which was probably my best reading year of all. I like to structure my day around reading sometimes, so I will listen to an audiobook if I'm at work and I don't have a very meetings heavy day. After work, if I'm not going out with friends, if I am not going out for dinner, if I am not doing something, I will sit on the couch and I will read for a couple of hours while I'm making dinner, or just in the background while I'm watching a TV show, I'll have the book in my hands too. I also like to try and read for half an hour before bed. It doesn't always work out that way. I also watch shows before bedtime, or I'll watch YouTube before bedtime. But if I try and put my mind to it, I'll usually get about half an hour in before I go to sleep. Question 4 is, how has BookTube changed you as a reader? And I definitely feel like I'm reading more because of BookTube, but also I am finding more books because of BookTube. There are things that people are mentioning that I would never have seen in other places, and that pique my interest so much that I instantly have to go out and buy them, that I instantly have to put them on my wish list, that I instantly put them on my want to read shelf. There are so many times that somebody has mentioned a book on sprints or in their own videos, and I've instantly gone to look it up and it has sounded like exactly my kind of thing. But on the flip side, it has also put a lot more pressure on my shoulders. And that pressure is 100% coming from me. It's not coming from anybody else, friend, foe. It's from nobody but myself. But I do find myself becoming a lot more critical of myself if I haven't read as much this day, or if I read more this month last year than I have read this year, or if I'm in a reading slump and nothing seems to be getting me out of it. Those were my answers to the evolution of a reader book tag. Do you feel like your reading has evolved in any way? Let me know in the comments. If you'd love to leave me a comment but you can't think of anything you'd like to say, then just leave me a dinosaur emoji. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I have new videos up every week. Now, get on out of here.